Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the non-productive read-along for Batman Forever, a novelization of the film by none other than Peter David. There he is. Peter David, as you know, passed away this year, sadly, and we were doing a charity stream to bring support to his family in these dire times. Go to non-productive.com/Batman Forever to find out more and how to support the GoFundMe. So at this stage of the read-along, and you could see previous episodes on YouTube and I think on Twitch, we are in the section called Then, which, wait for it, happened back then. The first chapter was about Batman. Spoiler alert. Can you do a spoiler alert in the middle of a... Oh, if you're hearing static in the background, that is the sound of my children's baby monitors, which, to be honest, we don't really need. But I like the sound. It makes me feel like I'm a good parent. We all want to feel like good parents, not like be good parents. That's too much work. We want to feel like good parents. That's horrible. Yes. So hopefully that's not too distracting or lulls you to sleep. First chapter was about Batman. Second chapter was about a young Edward Nygma who may end up becoming someone important. I don't know. Strange name. You know, Nygma. I figured it out. I just realized I'm making eye contact now. Not so much here. And then this is the third chapter, which starts with the words Harvey Dent. So I'm going to guess this one might be about Harvey Dent. I almost called the actor who played Harvey Dent in this movie Tommy Wiseau. It is not. It's Tommy Lee Jones, but... Am I doing a fan casting now in my head? Yes. Harvey Dent, district attorney to Gotham City, stood on the flat roof, looking out over the array of similar buildings that spread out before him like an ocean made of tar paper. Good opening sentence. Turn down the volume a little bit. You still watching? Sorry, folks. Hopefully that's better. Harvey Dent, district attorney to Gotham City, stood on the flat roof, looking out over an array of similar buildings that spread out before him like an ocean made of tar paper. It was a low-rent section of Gotham, a housing project funded by the Wayne Foundation some years back. As the night air cut through Dent's overcoat, he pulled it more tightly around him. The moon had risen, and he looked at his long shadow, cast against the nearby roof door, his coat flapping around his calves. I'm sorry, I'm laughing now because I'm picturing the pre-Two-Faced Harvey Dent is actually done by oh my god. Oh, it's so late, folks. I know you're not tuning in for this, but Colt 45, Lando Calrissian, Tommy Wiseau, that's who I was thinking of. Okay. And then after the accident, he becomes Tommy Lee Jones. That's hilarious. The moon, not too far above, the North Shore Expressway was rather devoid of cars. Not surprisingly, considering it was the middle of the night. Dent was fairly tall, square-shouldered, and solidly built. His face was craggy, his black hair shortly cropped and graying slightly at the temples. His thin lips were pursed, and he licked them briskly as the cold air dried them out. He found his thoughts wandering to the first occasion he'd had to meet Bruce Wayne, the head of the Wayne Foundation. Wayne had seemed a nice enough guy, a little distracted at times, as if his mind were a million miles away. Harvey Dent had been part of the city council project seeking funding for the project, and Dent, along with several other politicos, had had lunch with Wayne to discuss it. Wayne had arrived 45 minutes late and hadn't even apologized, apparently uncaring or simply unaware of his tardiness. Dent had done much of the talking and, as he had done so, found himself fascinated by Wayne's steady gaze. It seemed as if Wayne had been looking straight through him, to a point at the far end of the room. "We don't want people to have to live in fear of crime, in fear of their lives," Dent had said. It had been that comment that seemed to rivet Wayne's attention, for Wayne's scrutiny had swung back to Dent at that moment, focusing on him, and, Dent felt, dissecting him. "You really care about people, don't you?" Wayne said. "You really care about people, don't you?" Wayne said. Sorry. Again. "No two ways about it," replied Dent. "Tell me more," Wayne had said, and as if truly paying attention for the first time. Not that was necessarily the turning point in the conversation. For all Dent knew, Wayne had intended to contribute to the project all along. This is really going to bother me. Sorry, folks. Hey, Google, what's the name of the actor who played Lando Calrissian in the original Star Wars movies? So
Billy
tired.
D. Williams.
Billy D.
On the
Williams.
website, Facebook.com,
I remembered
say,
Colt
Billy
45,
D. Williams, born William December
but not
Williams
Billy
Jr.
D.
on
Williams.
April 6, 1937,
Folks,
is an American actor, artist, and writer, best known for playing Lando Calrissian in the Star
Google,
Wars
stop.
franchise and Harvey Dent, Two-Face in Batman and the Lego Batman movie.
By the way, if I activated your devices, sorry. But let me just talk a little bit about being a parent. Two adorable kids. I am so much dumber than I was before they came along. Oh my God, my eyes are a little, no, not that bloodshot, but they're getting there. I'm so tired. Are you tired? Please share in the comments on this video and like, follow, subscribe. We're not done. I'm just getting that out of the way because I'm going to forget. Billy D. Williams. How did I forget? I'm so embarrassed. Just completely blanked. And you know what it is? I think it's also because I'm reading and I'm trying to concentrate because I've never read this before, so I'm trying to concentrate on what I'm saying. I could sleep for 1,000,000 years. I could sleep for 1,000,000 years, Alfred. That's not in there. What Dent had not been expecting was the amount of Wayne's contribution. A dozen donors had garnered the group about half the money required to accomplish the project. To Dent's astonishment, Wayne had single-handedly kicked in the other half. Now, though, as Dent stood on the roof, gotta stop doing this. Stop assiding. Isn't it great seeing a fictional billionaire who's actually doing amazing things? Now, that's the real fiction of Batman. It has nothing to do with any of the other fantastic crap. Now, though, as Dent stood on the roof, he wondered if his promise had been all that sincere. Crime hadn't seemed to take all that much of a downturn. In fact, if anything else, it had become, well, stranger. Indeed, that was part of the reason that he was here tonight. He looked out again across the rooftops. He could easily understand why his caller wanted to meet there. Surprise was impossible. No way on this flat terrain could any cops be hiding or any sort of trap sprung. It would be seen coming a mile away. Sorry, just neurotic about the monitors. Dent's shadow moved, but Dent didn't. Harvey had caught it out of the corner of his eye, and his head snapped around to catch sight of the silhouette moving out of Dent's shadow. The figure stood in its full height. The scalloped cape flared out, dark eyes invisible behind the mask and pointed ear cowl. Awesome if this turns out not to be Batman. They stood there for a long moment, taking the measure of one another. I could gasp Batman if it will make you feel more impressive. He got no response. He cocked his head slightly and continued. I suppose telling a vigilante such as you that you're under arrest would be a waste of time. When the cape figure spoke, it was in a low voice, just above a whisper. Dent doubted it was his normal speaking voice. It was impossible to determine whether he did it for disguise or effect. "That's correct," was all he said. Whisper. I do not remember how Val Kilmer delivered his Batman lines. Another failing of me. I'll watch it for the next one. Dent started towards him. Batman made no attempt to step backward. Harvey took a few steps and then stopped. "As an officer of the court, I must advise you to report to the nearest police station and submit yourself to arrest." Batman studied him a moment. "If you're referring to that business with the Penguin, his gang can tell you everything you need to know." "Well, they've disappeared," replied Dent. "We're looking for them, but..." As if Dent hadn't spoken, Batman continued. "They're holed up in a warehouse in 73rd and Grand. There's a secret room through a revolving wall on the northwest side." There was a slight glitter from his nearly invisible eyes. "I'm presuming you can get the truth out of them. If you knew where they are, why didn't you go get them?" "Are you advocating vigilantism?" "All right, don't be a bitch." I hope you're reading along. There was just the briefest flash of a smile, and then the face grew serious again. I wanted you to be able to take credit for the arrest, and I wanted to show you I'm capable of working with the authorities. Gordon knows this already. You don't seem to." Dent stared at him, puzzled. "Why do you care what I think?" He didn't reply immediately, and then he said, "The local polls place you fairly low in public opinion. You're not planning to run again for DA, are you?" He had a habit of phrasing things as questions, but they came out as flat statements. "I'm strongly considering not doing so, yes," said Dent. "I feel as if I haven't been able to keep the promises I made to the people of the city. Plus, I have a fiancée. We're talking about starting a family. With all that, yes." "Family?" Harvey Dent has a kid and then literally has no time for Two-Face. He needs two personalities, two distinct personalities just to keep up. "I'm just barely keeping around, you know." All right. "Plus, I have a fiancé. We're talking about starting a family. With all that, yes. I've been thinking about returning to private practice. Sometimes you dream about doing something, but once you're out there doing it, it doesn't seem to accomplish your goals." "I know," said Batman, in a tone of voice that immediately caught Dent's attention. But it was as if the dark figure had inadvertently let something slip, something closer to him that he'd have liked to admit. Immediately the shadow seemed to enfold him, even though he didn't move an inch. He paused and then said, "I think you're selling yourself short. You could be the best DA the city has ever known. I can be of help to you. My investigations can give you leads, point you in the right direction. We have the same goal, you and I. We're just two sides of it." "Two sides?" echoed Denty. "Denty?" echoed Dent. "Let me get this straight. I'm thinking about getting out of the rat race, and you want me to stick my neck out further." Denty. "Yes," Batman confirmed. "But I won't let anyone chop it. I won't let anyone chop it off. You'll protect me, you're saying, from any dire consequences of your investigations. As much as is humanly possible." Dent sighed. "I'll check out this lead. If it pans out, and if it results in the arrest of the gang, and if they can be convinced to give us an account that vindicates you, and if I don't come to my senses, then maybe we could come to some sort of accord. But that's a lot of ifs, maybes, and what have yous to stake your mask to." "It's good enough for now," said Batman. Then, without even seeming to move his feet, he drifted backward and melted in the shadows. "Hey, hey!" shouted Harvey Dent. "Why are you working so hard to convince me to stay in office, eh?" "Because together we can move more effectively in putting crooks behind bars," floated back a voice from the darkness. "And because I care." And then there was a brief rustling that could have been a cape, or perhaps it was massive wings. And he was gone, but it was a cape. That last one was my addition. All right, we're now at the point where we're at now, which is, I would think, then, like 1995. So if you've been enjoying this, and especially if you have not, donate to Peter David's GoFundMe. The link will be at Non-Productive.com /Batman Forever. Any subs and or bits and tokens and Riz that we get over every time we do one of these will also go towards what Non-Pro is going to donate to Peter David's family. Riz is a unit of measurement for donations on streaming platforms, right? I'm incredibly old and very tired. So yeah, use all your Riz tokens to convert that to Bitcoin, and then convert that to Dogecoin, and then find real money, and then use that to start up a credit card, and then use that to pay off your student loans. And when you have a little money over, you give that to support the comic creators that have made the wonderful art that you enjoy so much. Not this stream. Nobody is enjoying this, not least of all me. But other things, books you've read and comic books you've enjoyed and such and so forth. Hey, do you want to read a chapter of this book on the stream and want to be involved? Why don't you comment? I'm probably going to see the YouTube comments more than the Twitch stream ones, because those don't stick around. Those are chats. They disappear. Yeah. Or just send us an email. I'm at frank@non-productive.com. And I love you. I thought it was time I told you that. And we'll see you at the next one. Dig deep and dig often. What a horrible way to end this. Wow. Let's dig deep and dig often. Denty.